They are feeling exceptionally confident in beating Larson and Smite, but you have to put yourself into this kind of position right now. There's pressure all around you. To me, it's looking like Larson and Smite have the advantage right now. Just take a look at the focus right here, right? This little bit of high ground, they have them almost trapped down below.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now, Larson is a little bit separated from Smite. That is a little bit towards low ground. You know as well as I do, all it takes is 1 second of separation to kind of do one of these teams in, as Marine and Vico over here towards Reality Tree, another contested drop. But you can see this is only game number 1. Nobody wants to put it all on the line just yet, but I might have spoke too soon. Larson would get it, taking down a ton of damage on the Muzz. Looter trying to back him up, and it looks like they got the first elimination of FNCS.
Down goes Larson, and the quick finish for Looter. OCE gets to claim the first on the show today. For Jace in Basil, another team that was contested in the early kind of situation, but it seems like they've won themselves some space. Yep. They're vibing out. Look at the Storm Surge tags here as they start to fight back the teams that are out on the outer edges here. What a great spot to be, especially with the zone housed right on top of them. They have so much going for them now that they don't have to worry about that. Whoa, a big fight though, on one, gets back. That's the replay there. I love that we got to catch that.
And you can see the strategy coming out from On1 and Bach. They switched up their drop spots this weekend. It's not like they've been practicing there all season long. They're just adapting on the fly. As you see Booga, Mara, we already talked about the uncontested drop spot of Chonkers Speedway. The zone is kind of above them, and they're one of those teams that just waste no time trying to figure out what that game plan is. They're gonna down on Surge at any point in the game. You're forced to play catch up to all these elite teams who know exactly how to handle their own Surge if they are above. But one of the big teams, one of the favorites to possibly take the competition overall, Janus and Vadil, Greasy Grove, uncontested, and everybody knows what they can do uncontested.
Janus is the only European player to have ever picked up an FNCS in solos, trios, and duos. 3 different game modes, such a decorated team that we have together. That's our German powerhouses. As we jump over to Anas and Pink, what a team right now. Remember, they were contesting Clicks and Duke down at the Joneses. It seems like things might have slowed down for them. They've been a bit more passive. There's a single elim though, right inside there too, so that's a pickup.
Yeah, and for a lot of these teams today, this is just game number 1. The nerves right now, they're just feeling each other out, trying to figure out how everybody's playing, and then they're gonna adapt as soon as this one gets at least towards the mid game, probably towards the end game. It's gonna get super exciting very, very quick as Merstash, Malibuka, that fight done and over with. They know it's about the resource, about matting up and setting yourself up for later on.
And I love that you say that, because what they have that the other teams don't, tons of accessibility to the metal. Yep. You see how their metal resources really starting to cap out there. Bevies and Vortex are known a little bit better. They're gonna land right behind Chapman. They find Takes out by himself, a great shot here, and now he steps up, but smarter to go ahead and defensively poise up here. No need to get too in.
Yeah, not just yet at least. You can't really get too busy too early. There's so many players that right now, you see 95 left alive.
And I mean, incredible player, but this is one of those decisions that you have to make now.
No O'Reilly.
Fight. There's no easy one. Now we have EU versus NAOS. No O'Reilly, bad sniper, Epic Whale, and Reed on the other side of the wall.
This one is going to get close because Reed, I already talked about, he loves to fight. Epic Whale loves to fight as well, but Epic Whale was also that IGL, that 6-time champion. He knows when and where to pick his battles in every single one of these situations. So he's probably talking to him right now, get the pre-edit ready, but he's 137 below. This is why they're not abandoning the fight. They have damage to do.
Epic Whale and Reed have around a 70+% win ratio when taking on these early game fights in these early zones. It's looking very good for them, but the Surge, no one can beat the Surge. That is going to be inevitable damage in the coming seconds. So this is why this fight's so important. Down comes the Chug Heal. They're just going to run and sit there, try to get as much health as possible. Meanwhile, in the distance, Threats and Alice are starting to put shots in. So this is not a fight that's not, being interfered with. Reed's going to fall first. Epic Whale's by himself. Shots come in. Noah Riley wastes no time. They pounce in, and they're hunting now. Reed's on the run. Shots from the side. Who will steal away this elimination here? Someone has to get it in there. It is. They close things up and finish it off quickly. And just like that, EU comes out on top.
Oh my god, but the action is just all over. Basil, Jace, they're out as well. That's Pink and Anas who pick up 2 more. And I even saw moments ago that Booga went down. The elimination feed is just lighting up. Pars and Rays go down as well. This one is getting active very fast, but that's because of the Storm Surge. But this is something I feel like all of us preface just a little bit. Handling that Storm Surge is going to be so important throughout these 12 games.
Kanata and Macwood take down Booga and Miro in the feed. It is done. It is wraps. Meanwhile, Asia's champions are finding some too, but KBR and Z, representing for Brazil, are here, and they need more tags. They're just 8 above. Well played for them to go ahead and find a few to keep them in the game, but let's get on over to that fight that is inevitably gonna continue. Tayson versus Chapix.
And this is exactly what happened when you split it, though. They split that drop spot. They weren't able to get the early damage. Down goes Chapix. Tayson under pressure. HP getting dropped, and there he goes. Back to the lobby. Vadil and Janice do it again.
From teammates to enemies, Janice takes down Tayson in the zone. Just like that, it is over. Now, we jump on over to Onwon and Baka. 3 elims.
5-team contestation coming out of Tilted Towers. Honestly, didn't do too much. 256 above the damage threshold as well. Shots continue to fire off onto Ju. He goes down. Elimination's going to be cleaned up to Acorn. They get 2 to their total. And his teammate, Yusri, goes down as well. That's going to be Vadil. No, Riley picking up some more eliminations as well.
Pressure, rapid and endless now. And they have Clicks and Duke sitting above them. Macwood and Kanata starting to look down as well. They're off to a hot start. That is one of the teams to look out for. Meanwhile, a single elim already for Clicks on the other side. So they've survived the drop. A huge shot. Clicks finds a 1. They're on to Andalex in the finish. 2. Clicks and Duke managed to get 2 more eliminations. Oh my gosh.
Hey, you got to give him credit, though. He said it himself. He has that World Cup experience team with an FNCS champion in Duke, his first time in an in-person event, and he's already loving the environment, even though he didn't take that off-spawn fight.
Meanwhile, turning the story around, Vadil is known as one of the greatest box fighters, literally made his name known for taking on fights and destroying players across Europe. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Yep, you see Vadil just kind of peeking through the cone, catching Macwood off guard. And honestly, it looked like Macwood was going to try to do the same to him, peeking through that cone. You better watch where you peek. Aseti and Cammy, another favorite to probably take the top spot here in this event. 306 above the damage threshold. They're still continuing to put that pressure on the lobby. That's exactly what you got to do when you make it to endgame, especially if you're a team that doesn't fight off spawn.
The coming legends, Cammy and Seti, have 2 launch pads. They have material. They have heals. This just might be their game. Well, let's jump on over to Zeke. KBR. How's it going here? 132. They have Z, Andy, and Joe FN on the other side of the wall. It's going to be a tough one. 23 duos remaining here. The surge is still active. And now as the timer hits 0 and the zone reveals itself, we're going to start entering into the first moving zone territory. These next 25 seconds are going to be some of the toughest they have ever had to deal with. Remember, for some on this stage, this is their first LAN, an in-person event that they have ever experienced here, and they get to play it out now.
And this is where you talked about some of the players that had rotation. It is going to be so important. You see where the zone pulls. There's different elevations that these players are going to have to traverse through. If you don't have any sort of rotation, you're going to have to figure out how to recycle it. Otherwise, you're going to be living a nightmare.
Vadil, he has a launch pad. He's going to play for it. High ground. The first ones to go is Vino and Queasy. This is where you expect them to be. They're up top where they are so comfortable. Now, can they hold it all the way? The launch pad comes down. They don't want to stay there and commit the map. They're going to go in and switch it up. Merstash on the low ground down to 40 HP, but he still has some movement to work with.
You can see him just speaking through the cone, gathering that information. He has a launch pad as well. He can easily try to find his way through, but there's so many players stacked all around him. They don't want to make it easy, but 28 above the damage threshold. He's not only looking for the perfect rotation, he's looking for some players to put some shots on, but a high ground goes over to Peppo.
Whoa, Asia on height now too. This is big. That's something you did not expect, but Vino and Queasy are now looking up, take the side and go for it. They land on top of Asia, and it's all or nothing now. Vino fights for it. The wall gets edited. It's not quite his. It's a battle on all fronts here. Can they win it off? And he does just enough. Vino and Queasy have managed to fight back for high ground in the first game of the FNCS Invitation.
Yep, and there goes Assault of the feed. Vidil and Janice, their run came to an end. Vico picking up Anas and Merstash. Two different players as Alice is trying to break through. 118 below the damage threshold. He knows he cannot stay in one place too long, trying to reunite with Threats, but he goes down as well. Storm Surge really eating these guys alive. Alice has to do something, but the options are so thin. He doesn't know what to do. Finally finding one player, puts the shot on. Storm Surge still going wild. He's below, but that Siphon coming through just in the nick of time to keep him alive.
He is alive. He takes down the run, steps into the zone, and look at this. A huge pickup now. That's going to buy him more time. That could be the absolute difference. Meanwhile, Seti and Cammy playing their game. Pamstu and Fash still alive as well. High ground has Queasy and Vino. Low ground has Chicho and Trulix playing and leading the front side of zone. There's not a player in sight. Clix is still alive now, working his way through. He has lost his teammate. The full finish comes through. It might be all or nothing now. He still has so much left in the tank.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about him because of him and Duke's high placement last FNCS was because of solo clutches from that man himself. But talk about solos. Joe gets one as Andy goes down. Shots coming in from the high ground. Pressure is there, but Joe's trying to find his way to the front side of zone, but it's a hard journey trying to find it. 12 HP, continuing to drop. Shots still coming in. He's going to find a moment of an oasis to try to stabilize and figure out what's the next play.
Cammy and Seti find their way to the high ground. Down goes Clix to the hands of Cammy. That's a huge one. Hello, Vino. You have to turn and run. Cammy wants to hear nothing about that noise right there. Meanwhile, Seti's keeping eyes on the general area. Very solid. Chicho fighting his way, but no. An edit comes through. It's Zagu and Mareem, who's right above them there. Our FNCS champions of Asia are still here. Down goes Pamstu as well. What a huge elimination here.
The top 7 duos alive. 11 players total left in this game. One of them being Seti and Cammy towards the high ground. The analyst desk called it. These guys don't play too many early game fights. They wait for this end game and for every opportunity. But Acorn, he's trying to sneak some extra points. He has the med miss sitting in the zone. Vino doing the same, but he's almost all out of opportunity.
This is absolutely what you expect of the best players in the world coming together for this invitational here, to have this opportunity to step up to the plate, represent for your region. This is what it's all about. Vino by himself, just working his way, ratting his way through the build. Acorn is as well. There's a set of major points separating them. Vino looks to high ground. He says, I'm not going to allow you to just sit there and focus me. Trulex is meanwhile in the low, looking for something to do here, turning builds into Chrome. Remember, he can slip through any one of these now. He's becoming desperate.
He's just trying to reinforce the little bit of the builds that are around him so nobody can quickly edit through and try to pick that shot from Miram and Zagu. They don't have that high ground, but they have that mid layer trying to find that comfortability. Brino, only 2 HP, no med miss left. He's gonna have to try to find a Siphon here, but no, he gets dropped. Acorn finds another one from the outside of zone.
7 elims for Mareem and Zagu, representing for Asia here, looking great. Meanwhile, Yumi and Cool are getting one step closer now to taking this fight. A huge shot out to Mareem. He's gonna feel that one as he plays defensively, but Zagu is here to back him up. They're going hand in hand. The fight breaks out. They clap back. Down.
Oh my gosh!
Cool steps up to the plate. We are now down to 3 duos in the end game, 2 solos and a duo up top.
Carrying that momentum from last season's FNCS, but he has so much more work to do. Seti and Cammy, the only duo left in the game, is Acorn staying alive. Still 4 eliminations on the back of Cool, trying to find his way through. But this, like I said, there's only 1 duo team, and they have the high ground and the recipe for success.
You cannot write a better story for becoming legends. Seti is fighting back. Cammy is fighting back. They're looking to get inside. There goes the elim they were looking for. Just one player separates them, but Acorn will not survive.